Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is something a little different on my channel, and that is we will be doing a tier list video. Now the main reason we're doing this is because Journey's End is right around the corner, and I want to rank the lists of the bosses before Journey's End comes out, because we will have some new bosses in Journey's End, and we will have a new mode called Master Mode, which will make the game a whole lot harder, and yeah, we just want to see how we can rank these bosses before the update comes out. So without further ado, if you agree with my list, be sure to let me know in the comments. If you disagree, do the same. And I will post a link to the tier list right here so you can create one of your own in the description. If you want to send me your tier rankings, be sure to DM me on Instagram or Discord or whatever. I'll have those in the description as well. Without further ado, let's rank the tier list of all the Terraria bosses by their difficulty. Now you can obviously tell these are not in order right here, but we'll rank them nonetheless in order. So we're ranking them based on their difficulty. It can be from normal mode to expert mode based on how much damage they do or their attacks, or how hard they are to beat with certain items and whatnot. So let's begin, shall we? So the first boss you encounter in Terraria is King Slime. Oh, just before real quick, if I ever mute myself like this, it's because I'm trying to like let off a cough or something, so yeah, a little fair warning, my mic has a mute button on it which I'll utilize. Anyways, King Slime. King Slime is the first boss you encounter in Terraria, and he is easily the easiest boss in the game. Like, come on, like, you can easily cheese him to death by taking some rope, building it up in the air, and spamming him with grenades, shurikens, throwing knives, or even a bow for that matter. So he's so easy to overcome. He's only difficult whenever he's in a crowded space with you when he teleports. And I did hear that he's going to be fixed in Journey's End to where you won't be able to cheese him as much, so yeah, it's likely to change over the years to come, but for now, King Slime is going in the F tier. Alright, so the Eye of Cthulhu. Eye of Cthulhu is honestly not really that hard either. In normal mode, he basically summons the servants of Cthulhu and turns into a mouth and his second form, but in expert mode, he dashes a lot faster, summons more servants of Cthulhu, and he does more damage. But that's easy to overcome if you have something like a bow, like a good ranged weapon, maybe some grenades or something. So he's definitely more difficult than the King Slime, because you can't really cheese him out that much, but with the current gear and stuff, you can easily beat him. Just make sure you have something like Hermes boots, so that way you can avoid his dashing. So for now, the Eye of Cthulhu is going in the D tier. Alright, Eater of Worlds. Eater of Worlds is yet another easy boss. However, he has an interesting mechanic to him. He is a giant worm boss that can be split up into segments, meaning if you like cut him in half, he'll create like 2 segment bosses of him that you can battle. And in expert mode, the head of him shoots the vile spit out, which does a lot of damage actually, but if you have a piercing weapon like the Jester's Arrows or even a Water Bolt, you can easily beat him. Having said that, he is very difficult with something like a yo-yo. If you've watched my yo-yo playthrough, it took me ages to beat him, so you really want to utilize piercing weapons if you can. If you're playing like a class playthrough, then yeah, you may have limitations. But his expert mode item is really great too. The freaking Worm Scarf reduces all damage by 18%. That's all just very great. So he is not a really hard boss, but for now I'm going to put him above the Eye of Cthulhu. Alright, the Brain of Cthulhu. The Brain of Cthulhu gives me a big headache. No pun intended there. But anyways, he actually does. In normal mode, he summons these little creepers that you have to defeat before you can actually defeat the brain himself. and then once you defeat the creepers, he opens up like a mouth like the Eye of Cthulhu does. But that can easily be beaten with like a spear or like a water bolt or something. And yeah, like with the Eater of Worlds, to defeat the creepers, you need something like a piercing weapon. But in expert mode, he does this extra attack when he's in his second stage, where he creates holograms in himself, so where you can't find the real one. And that is actually very annoying at sometimes, but if you have something like bone javelins, you can identify the real one. And he does add in so many debuffs, which can be really, really annoying, like slowness, I think one of them is like blindness. I don't really know them all, but it can be really, really annoying. And especially with a yo-yo character, like I said in my yo-yo playthrough, it's not that easy. So you want to utilize piercing weapons if you can. So he's slightly harder than the Eater of Worlds, but once again, he can still easily be beaten. Alright, Queen Bee. Oh boy, Queen Bee. What do I have to say about Queen Bee? She is hard. Holy crap, she is hard. In a normal mode, she's very similar to the Eye of Cthulhu in some regards, like she summons minions. However, the minions are a lot harder to beat because the bees are a lot harder to hit, because they're smaller, and they inflict the poison debuff on you. And then she also dashes like the Eye of Cthulhu, but in a different style. But in expert mode, not only does she dash faster, she summons the bees at a faster rate. Her stingers that she shoots at you does more damage, like she shoots it at like a machine gun rate. But she dashes faster, like I said, and her health and defense like gets way higher the more you damage her. So she is one of the hardest pre-hard mode bosses, and I really struggled with her in my first expert mode series. And I can't believe I beat her on my first try in my yo-yo series, but yo-yos are really good for bosses like Queen Bee, but Queen Bee is a really, really tough boss, so I'm gonna put her in the B tier. Alright, Skeletron. Skeletron is another hard boss, and I think he is one of the bosses that got the largest upgrade in expert mode. In normal mode, he's very easy, like you can defeat him without having to kill his hands, but if you kill his hands, he's practically defenseless against you. Just shoot him to death once his hands are gone, which can easily be taken out with spiky balls. But in expert mode, holy crap. First of all, he moves much faster, like he moves at about the same speed as the Dungeon Guardian. The head inflicts like the bleeding and broken armor debuff, I think, which can be really, really annoying. And plus, you can only do 1 damage to the head with some items, so it's forcing you to kill the hands. But after you kill the hands, the head will still keep spinning at you at a very fast speed, but he'll also shoot homing skulls at you, which are very hard to dodge if you don't have like a platform above you. And I'm pretty sure he's going to get buffed in Master Mode quite a lot, so I'm going to say he's slightly harder than Queen Bee in some regards, but yeah, he is not easy. So, the Wall of Flesh. I have so many things to say about the Wall of Flesh. The Wall of Flesh can either be really, really hard, or he can be really, really easy. If you watch my yo-yo playthrough, you know that he is so difficult. Like, in expert mode, like, he keeps spawning in his hungry minions, and they do so much more damage the more you damage the wall. And with a yo-yo character, it's really hard to even hit him because the hungries are in the way, and the leeches, well, they are annoying as well. In normal mode, he's not that hard, because he doesn't spawn in the hungries, and they don't do as much damage. But in expert mode, he does that. Not only that, but if you are using something like a sword, like if you do like a melee playthrough, it's going to be so hard to beat him. But, like I said, he can be really easy as well. If you have something like bee nades or even a water bolt, you can easily shred him, just as long as you keep your distance from him. So, you can also use dynamite. Like, I've seen a few speedruns where they literally melted the Wall of Flesh with a long bridge and dynamite. So, yeah, you can easily shred him that way, but that's just way too easy. So Wall of Flesh can be really hard or really easy, which is why I'm going to put him in the C tier. Alright, the Destroyer. Now, the Destroyer, is the easiest of the mechanical bosses. He is very similar to the Eater of Worlds, except he does not split up into segments like the Eater of Worlds. In normal mode, he's very easy to beat. In fact, I would normally beat him with like a phase saber. Like all you need is a lightsaber and some crystal shards. You can easily beat him that way. But in expert mode, you can't really do that because if you touch his head can kill you in like a couple seconds if you aren't careful. Like I think it does like around 200 to 300 damage. Not only that, but he also summons probes at a much faster rate. But like I said, he's the easiest of the mechanical bosses. If you get something like a Daedalus Stormbow and Holy Arrows, you will shred him in less than 2 minutes. So, yeah, he is not that hard in some regards. So, he's the easiest of the mechanical bosses, and you can defeat him with gear that you can get at that time very easily. So I'm going to put him in D tier, but I'm going to put him above like the Eye of Cthulhu and Eater of Worlds. Only because his head can literally kill you if you aren't careful. Skeletron Prime. Skeletron Prime is the most disappointing of the expert mode bosses, let me just say that. We saw Skeletron get such a huge buff in expert mode with like his speed, his debuffs, and his skulls that he shoots at you. And I expected the same for Skeletron Prime. Nope. All they did for Skeletron Prime was increase his health, defense, and damage. Which is honestly kind of disappointing. I expected more out of him, and we might get more of that in Journey's End with Master Mode, but if you get something like Daedalus Stormbow, you can still easily beat him. So I'm going to put him in C tier, and the only reason I'm putting him there is because his arms can sometimes be difficult to overcome, like the Prime Laser and Prime Saw, so he's still mediocre, but he's very disappointing. Alright, the twins. Oh my gosh, the twins. The twins are so hard. Like, geez, they're the hardest of the mechanical bosses. First of all, you have Spasmatism, who is the green eye. First of all, in normal mode, they're hard enough as they are in normal mode, but in expert mode, holy crap. First of all, Spasmatism, like I said, he shoots cursed flames at you in his first stage, but in his second stage he becomes like a fire-breathing dragon, and he dashes at you very, very fast, which can kill you in like 2 seconds if you aren't careful, or if you're playing something like a major summoner, and that can easily take you out in like a few seconds due to low defense. Hold on a second. Sorry, I just had to drink a thing of water there. Alright, so yeah. Spasmatism is arguably the hardest of the two bosses. Retinazer is hard as well, because he shoots lasers in normal mode, which isn't that bad, but in his second stage, he shoots lasers like a laser machine gun, and if you are like a mage or a summoner, that can be really deadly to you due to low defense, because his lasers are very accurate. And if you activate both of them in their second stage at once, then you are in for a really hard time. So with that, I am putting them in B tier above everything else there. Plantera. Oh my gosh. We literally just battled the hardest of the mechanical bosses. Can I just catch a break? Nope. Plantera comes in with you, with her freaking tentacles, her seed shooting, and everything else. Let me explain. In normal mode, I struggled with her so much when I was in 1.2, because I didn't really know how to deal with her, but I have a better understanding now. So Plantera is somewhat difficult in normal mode, but in expert mode, holy crap, she got buffed up so much. Not only does she do more damage and have more health, but in her second stage where she turns into like a mouth, her tentacles are out of control. They like quadrupled the amount of tentacles that she has. Not only that, but like the Wall of Flesh, she resummons them like with the Hungry. But fortunately she doesn't do it as fast. So for Plantera, you really need like a big crowd control weapon, like something that does like splash damage, or maybe even a piercing, something like vampire knives, or the Scourge of the Corruptor, or even like a chlorophyte shot bow with holy arrows. And if you're like a melee character, that's going to be kind of hard for you. But Plantera, jeez, so difficult. Now this might change over time, but for now I'm going to put her in the A tier. Gollum. Gollum is very bland. Honestly, like really, first of all, he can be spawned anywhere. Like, he's very similar to King Slime, but he's only slightly difficult because I've almost died to him a few times in expert mode because his lasers and fists do a lot of damage, but as long as you can kill his fists, your chances of surviving are much greater. But you can easily take the lizard altar and put it wherever you want and kill him like that. But Gollum, like seriously, he's so bland. Like, you can just literally pick up the altar. Like, obviously you need a pick saw for that, but actually you don't. All you need is like a wrench and some actuators and a switch to take him out. Like, literally actuate the blocks that the lizard altar is standing on, then you can pick up the altar and take it wherever you want. Which makes Gollum an easy farming boss. Which is kind of disappointing because he drops out some great items. It would really add some more flavor to the game. So for now, I'm putting Gollum in D tier, probably above the Eye of Cthulhu. Alright, now obviously I didn't do this in order. The Flying Dutchman is obviously supposed to come before the mechanical bosses, but yeah, let's just do it right now. So the Flying Dutchman, honestly, the Flying Dutchman isn't that hard. Now the only reason I'm counting the Flying Dutchman as a boss is because he drops out a trophy. Yes, I forgot to mention, I'm not doing any of the mobile exclusive bosses, nor Akram, because they're being removed from the game. But anyways, the Flying Dutchman, he's not that hard, really. Like, you can get some good gear like the Golden Shower or even an Amarok or something that can easily take care of him. He is pretty annoying, though. He can, summon a lot of pirates if you aren't careful with him. Like, you can defeat the pirate invasion and you'll still see pirates coming out because there could be a Flying Dutchman you haven't noticed, so he can be very annoying. But, in terms of gear he drops out, he has a higher chance of dropping out like the discount card, lucky coin, coin gun and stuff. But, he's honestly not that difficult, so he's going right into the D tier. Okay. Martian Saucer. The Martian Saucer is, arguably one of the hardest bosses, because his attack patterns. He has two stages. His first stage, he spams you with lasers, shoots you with rocket launchers, and, he has a charged blaster cannon. His second stage is arguably easier to deal with because all he does is just use his charged blaster cannon, but that can still kill you in like 2 seconds if you aren't careful. So, like the first time I battled him, I had to cheese him to death. Like I literally walled myself in and killed him with like a death sickle. But fortunately I don't do that anymore. I'm a much more honorable man. But holy crap, like his attacks can kill you really fast if you are not careful. So for that, I'm gonna put him in the B tier above the twins. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do the Pumpkin and Frost Moon right now, so we're at it. Morning Wood. The only challenging thing about Morning Wood is for me to not laugh every time I say that name. Like, come on, really, developers? I get it's a joke, but really, why would you name it that? Anyways, Morning Wood. Morning Wood is, somewhat difficult. Like, yeah, he can kill you if you aren't careful, but if you get powerful gear like, I don't know, like a Razor Blade Typhoon or Razor Pine or just even a Vampire Knives could take him out very easily. So Morning Wood is not that difficult, however his attacks like the Greek Fire and Flaming Wood can kill you if you aren't careful. But, yeah, he is rather difficult if you aren't careful, so I'm gonna put him in the D tier. I'm gonna put him above the Eye of Cthulhu. Pumpkin. A little known fact, I was actually Pumpkin for Halloween one of my years because Terraria was one of my favorite games and I just liked Pumpkin, like how he could like rotate his face and whatnot. Like I literally made his costume from scratch at home. But anyways, Pumpkin, hold on a sec. More water. Pumpkin is actually somewhat like a boss. Like he can hit you with his swords. His swords create like these glowing hologram things that can swing out after you. But, and he also spits Greek fire from his mouth, so yeah, he can be somewhat challenging, especially in the later waves when multiple pumpkins start to spawn. Like, you can easily be overridden if you aren't careful. But if you can get like a powerful weapon that can deal with the Morning Woods, pumpkin shouldn't be too hard either. Just make sure you watch your steps, and you'll be fine. But pumpkin is harder, definitely pretty difficult. So I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I'm trying to put him in the last place. Alright, now we're on to the Frost Moon, Everscream. Everscream is very similar to the Morning Woods, however he is a lot easier to deal with because his attacks don't have that much long range. Like, he shoots Christmas tree pines at you and he shoots eggnog, but if you aren't really close to the ground, you can easily defeat him. Now, his attacks can do more damage than the Morning Wood, but as long as you keep your distance on like a high platform, you can beat him. So, yeah, I'm gonna put him in the C tier, but I'm gonna put him underneath the Morning Wood. Alright. Santa NK1, or the Sinan Tank. Now, he can pose some pretty difficult challenges if you aren't careful. Like, he shoots you with his chain gun, and he throws presents into the sky, which are very deadly because if you're caught under one, he can, like, literally... Like, if you're caught on one, it falls so slow, it can literally kill you in like 2 seconds if you aren't careful. But, like I said, with like the Morning Wood and Everscream, you can easily beat him, just get good at dodging his attacks and stuff. But like I said, he can be pretty difficult, and once you get him down to half health, his face pops off, and he gets more enraged, so... I got a call. Alright, feels so much better. Okay, so I'm putting the Sand Tank, I'm gonna put him above, like, the Eater of Worlds and stuff. Yeah. Alright. So, Ice Queen. Ice Queen, Ice Queen, Ice Queen. You have caused me so much pain. Not because you're difficult, but because you don't stand still. Like, literally, she does not know how to stand still. She, like, flies around so many times. She can do very damaging attacks if you aren't careful with her, but you can easily reduce the damage of that by drinking a warmth potion. So, Ice Queen, like, she literally flies around, shoots, like, these little wind whirl things at you. The only time you can really get her is when she's doing her rotating ice shard attack, which is a really good time to get her, because she's literally standing still and spinning in circles. But she's really annoying, but however, she does more damage than the Pumpkin, so I'm going to put her above the Pumpkin in the C tier. Alright. Okay. Time for the Old One's Army. So we have the Dark Mages. Dark Mages. You first encounter these in pre-hard mode, actually. But he does buff up once you, like, progress through, like, the harder stages of the Old One's Army. But the Dark Mage is not difficult, really. Like, his attacks can do a lot of damage if you, aren't looking at your health, but, like, honestly, all you have to do is really just spam him with whatever you got, and you can easily defeat him. And, he is a little annoying, though, because he can spawn, like, he can summon more minions, and he can, like, heal their health, but, as a boss, he's not really that hard. Like, all these other bosses at least have a good chance of killing you, but he's not the most threatening. The real threat from the Old One's Army comes from defending the crystal, which, yeah, he does pose a challenge then, which is why I'm going to put him above the King Slime in the F tier. But really, he's not that hard. Okay, Ogre. The Ogre is, one of the only bosses that has layers. But anyways, Ogre, you encounter him after you defeat a mechanical boss at the Old One's Army. He can be difficult if you aren't careful. First thing he does is he jumps in the air and makes the whole ground do like an earthquake some type. So, as long as you can keep your distance from him, you can avoid that. But not only that, he also throws like his mucus at you, like it's like phlegm. He throws it at you, and it can literally cripple you almost. Like, it like literally slows you down like it's glue almost. It lasts for a few seconds, but it's really annoying. So if you're trying to defend the crystal, that can really be a big problem. But if you are really close to him, he can literally hit you with his baton, which can, like, kill you in, like, a couple seconds if you were not careful. So, definitely keep your distance from him and try to avoid his mucus if you can, but, yeah, I'm gonna put him in C tier. Alright. Betsy. Oh boy, Betsy. Betsy is actually kind of difficult. Like, she's not difficult because of her attacks and stuff, but she's difficult because of the Old One's army in general. Like, she literally distracts you from the whole army because you have to defend the crystal. But not only that, if she manages to kill you, it's literally game over for the crystal because, like, respawn takes such a long time and she does so much damage to the crystal. But fortunately, she sees you as an immediate threat, so she tries to kill you first, then she goes after the crystal. But if you die, then it's literally almost game over, as long as you have plenty of sentries around, that is. But, not only that, if you don't have strong enough gear, like if you're like a mage or a summoner with low defense, she can actually kill you pretty fast because of her fire attacks. So, because of the Old One's army, I'm going to put her in A tier. She is nowhere near as difficult as Plantera, but she is pretty difficult. Okay, now we're on to the last three bosses. Let me just put it in order here at the bottom. Okay. Duke Fishron. Oh boy. I had a little chat with Mr. Milky about where to put Plantera or Fishron. He said put Plantera in S tier and Fishron in A tier. But here's why I disagree with him. First of all, Plantera is a lot easier to deal with if you have like a crowd control weapon. Now yes, Plantera can struggle a lot if you're like a summoner or like a yo-yo, which I know I will struggle with her eventually. But Duke Fishron struggles even more. First of all, the tornadoes he puts down, they are not your friends. Like, if you get stuck inside them for like a couple seconds, they can easily kill you. Not only that, but they spit sharks at you, like Sharknado from the movie Sharknado. Good reference there, Terraria developers. But, they do so much damage. Not only that, once you get them to a second form, the tornadoes he spawns literally reach all the way up to space, so they're really hard to get over. Like, you have to fly over them with like a mount or something. Which is not that hard, not that easy because you have to focus on Duke Fishron. But not only that, in expert mode, he legit teleports. Like, you need like a homing weapon of some type to deal with him. And I know I will struggle with him on yo-yo because yo-yos do not home in whatsoever. I mean, the Terrarian does, but I'm not going to have the Terrarian. And I've struggled with them so much in my regular expert mode thing, even with the Possessed Hatchet, which was a homing weapon. So, Duke Fishron is really hard, and I'm only putting him in S tier because I've listened to so many other videos as well. I've watched Happy Days' video, I've watched Chippy Gaming's, I've watched, like I've read the Terraria forums and stuff, and they all agree Duke Fishron is a pretty hard boss, so Duke Fishron is going into the S tier. Okay, Lunatic Cultist. Lunatic Cultist can pose some challenges, yeah, if you aren't careful. He is pretty annoying to deal with, like he creates clones of himself, the clones attack. Because if you hit the wrong one, he can summon a dragon. But here's the thing though, if you've defeated Duke Fishron, what makes the Lunatic Cultist so challenging? Yeah, if you are a major summoner with low defense, yeah, he can kill you, but as long as you can keep your distance, you're fine. And also, the Lunatic Cultist, he is a little harder to hit because he has a smaller hitbox, but he's just not that difficult, honestly. Because Fishron is much more difficult, and if he drops out something like a Razor Blade Typhoon, you will tear through the Lunatic Cultist like a piece of paper. But, like I said, he can pose some challenges if you really aren't careful, but he's honestly not too difficult. I will put him in C tier above everything else because yeah, of the challenges he can pose, but honestly, no, he's just not that hard. Okay, the final boss, Moonlord, or Cthulhu. I'm gonna call him Cthulhu. Don't tell me otherwise. He is Cthulhu. He looks like him. His eyes are called the true eyes of Cthulhu, and he legit has the beard. And yes, they did take some liberties with like the lasers and stuff, but anyways, I'm getting off topic. The Moonlord. out of all the things we battled a giant eyeball, we battled a giant slime, we battled a giant bee, we battled a wall of flesh, we battled a pirate ship, we battled some machines, we battled a plant, we battled a dragon, and we've even battled some freaking aliens from space. And the most challenging of those all was a freaking shark that spits tornadoes out like it was a piece of, I don't know, I lost what I was saying there. But anyways, it all leads up to the Moon Lord. So, with that in mind, I'm putting the Moon Lord in the S tier above everything else, because the fight is so challenging. First of all, in normal mode, he's already hard enough as it is. In expert mode, his damage and defense and health gets racked up so much. In his first stage, he has 3 eyeballs that literally spawn orbs, but his top eyeball is the most dangerous because it does the phantasmal death ray, which I did hear you can no longer block that in Journeys in because they're gonna make it to where it goes through blocks. But anyways, the phantasmal death ray can literally kill you instantly, not even like a second. It can literally kill you instantly if you are not careful at all. But if you manage to survive that and you knock out his other eyes, here comes a problem. First of all, his leeching attack can heal himself up, so you have to do damage fast, otherwise he's going to regain health and the fight will last much longer. And once you pop out his eyes, they start shooting you with lasers. They do mini phantasmal death rays, which cut your health in half pretty much, but there are 3 of them, so that's really dangerous. And once you knock out all his eyes, all you're left to deal with is his core, which has massive health and massive defense. So it's a race to the finish with the core. So the Moon Lord is a very difficult boss fight. Like, a lot of Terraria noobs and stuff have only beaten him because they had the nurse next to them. So, yeah, Moon Lord. So difficult. Definitely a final boss worthy opponent. And I'm very happy that he's the final boss. So guys, this is my tier list. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment below what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you would do better. Please tell me what you thought about the video. DM me your own list. I'll put the list in the description, and I'll put my Discord and Instagram in the description as well. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I'll make another one of these when Journey's End comes out and we have a better understanding of how Master Mode works and the new bosses. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.